Okay, here's your 2-minute warning. All right, I'd like to call the December 11th work session meeting for the White County Board of Education to order. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. We've got we're fully staffed, and so that's great. I'm glad everybody was able to make it. So, board members, we put out the agenda for tonight's meeting. Sent you supporting information. Obviously, if there's any questions you have this work session to try to get those addressed. But hopefully, all your information you found that helpful in preparing for tonight's meeting. So this time we'll go over our consent agenda items that are on our part of our agenda, and include several things that we typically go through at this time. And so we'll start with, in your packet, you will see the board meeting minutes from our November 6th meeting. Had the notes from the meeting notes from November 6th, as well as our work session. Are there any questions, comments, revisions that regarding either of those minute notes? Okay, if not, we'll move down to the next item in consent agenda, and it's our policy report. We have no items in policy that we need to consider tonight. Do request that as board members that we periodically review through the policies, and we'll try to get on a schedule to get back to looking at specific sections for next month. And I'll send us an email out for a reminder, and we can pick that back up starting in January. So the next item on our consent agenda is we do have a list of items of surplus from the maintenance items that Mr. Alley has presented to us, but also we have a maintenance report. And Mr. Alley, if there's anything you need to share with us, we'll give you the opportunity to do that this time.
My song. All right. Maintenance-wise, again, we're pretty much just maintaining and keeping everything going. Our door locks that we had a huge project. We've wound that down, And our door locks for the system are in really good shape. I'm not going to say pretty good. They're in really good shape. And what's so funny is we still have to work on them every day. But that part of the school is going really well. Heat and air is doing really well right now. So we're in pretty good shape right now as far as, and I've got some good people. We have switched to a new system that is keeping up with all of the work orders and allowing us to track, which we always were able to track, but it seems like this new system is moving things a lot faster, and we're getting a lot more things completed quicker. So it's a neat thing and good to have that. On the surplus items, you want to go ahead and go to those? Okay. I don't know, do y'all have a list in front of you of those?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So your first two buses, the 2010s, both were removed early. We should have those buses until 2019. The reason they were, 2029. So the reason they were removed early is because of our Tennessee Highway Patrol inspection. They found rust on the frame and on a body panel underneath, and they pulled those from service. So that is the reason for getting rid of those. They don't allow us to transport students with those two buses. So we lost 4 years on those two. The 2007, it was the 18th year this year, so we were going to lose it anyway. The 2009 also had rust. We do not have a choice when they pull that. We can fix it, but it costs more to fix it than it is to keep the bus. The 2006, it was time for the years has got that one, and the other 2006. Now the 2008 is part of our East Tennessee Clean Diesel partnership that we bought 3 propane buses, and we are to crush or tear up 3 existing buses. We're actually going to run those things through a shredder over at Cooper Recycling, and they're going to give us $33,000 for each bus that we shred. So those 3 buses are going to be shredded. The car, or the Ford at the end, is actually a vehicle I bought right at 5 years ago, and paid $2,100 for it, and we've got our use out of it, and the transmission was going to cost $2,300, and I just didn't feel like it was worth dealing with. So that's, if you have any questions, be glad to answer them.
All right, board members, appreciate that report, Mr. Alley. Board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Alley about the proposed items for sale or salvage?
Are they being replaced, or does that cause a strain on moving students around?
We were in really good shape until our new THP guy took 3 of those buses out. With that, we try to buy 2 buses a year, and this last year we bought those 3. But we may be looking at again sometime soon as buying 3 buses, because once all of these are taken off, we will actually have only 2 sub buses, and I've seen the time when we've had 5 sub buses on the road. So yes, I'm hoping to possibly purchase a bus at a cheap price from another school district that still has 3 years on it. I'm working on that right now, so we might can come up with some ideas of ways to get us through without having to purchase a whole new vehicle.
I did have one question, Mr. Alley. How's the propane buses? Are they working out okay for you?
So far, we have really enjoyed them. We can't say anything bad about them. They started out getting less mileage than the diesel. As it's going on, they're picking up, and they told us that would happen. That sooner or later they'll get back up to the same mileage that the diesel is. But they have plenty of power. They're very quiet, and I think we're going to like them.
Do you have a refueling station there at the bus garage?
We do. We installed one right there at the gate, so we can refuel everything right there.
Okay, that's good.
Good, good discussion. Any other questions for Mr. Alley? So, Mr. Alley, so we're going to get $33,000 for the shredded buses
Yes. Yes.
each?
Each. So basically, we bought 3 buses, and they're going to pay for $108,000 on the third bus. So
That's good. Are they going to let you come up there and watch them being shredded?
yeah, we have to take them. So I have to film it. They have to. The regulations show I have to sit there, so I get to film the whole thing.
That might be a good Warrior Media project to post out to say.
That might be. Yeah, it was pretty.
Here's how metal gets recycled.
We've got all kinds of people volunteering to take those buses up there.
Yeah.
Mr. Alley,
Yes.
the ones that we've had to take out early, there wasn't no way that we could have shredded any of those?
Well, I mean, we can shred them. Typically, those we put on gov deals and sell, and we can get a little bit more money out of them than we can shredding them. They come and go. Right now, you're averaging probably getting $2,500 per bus as selling them right now on gov deals. So that's a little. We'll make a little bit more money than we would shredding them.
So just for clarity, though, the $33,000 that you're getting for shredding those buses, that was part of the project for going to the propane, correct?
That's correct. It's the East Tennessee Clean Fuels. It's a grant type deal that they will give us that to take 3 diesel engines off the road.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. All right. Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Alley? Okay, if not, then we'll go next. Ms. Officer will have our budget report for this month.
So this is the report from the financial position of the White County School System for the period ending November 30th, 2025. Overall, the school system's financial position remains stable through these first 5 months of the fiscal year. Revenues are generally tracking as expected, and expenditure activity is consistent with historical trends for this period. Through the end of November, total revenues for all school funds were $16,467,909, while total expenditures and encumbrances totaled $19,396,415, resulting in a combined estimated balance of $17,526,659. This compares to the beginning funding balance of $20,455,164, which again is consistent with normal seasonal patterns prior to the peak property tax collection. Within the general purpose school fund, revenues through November represent a 2.52% increase over the same period of last year. Expenditures and encumbrances total was also an increase of 7.37% from November 24. Increases continue to be driven largely by salaries and benefits of instructional staff, higher expenditures on supplies and materials across the instructional and support functioning, and several areas of routine capital and maintenance spending. Local option sales tax collections for the year-to-date total is $1,090,604, reflecting continued growth over prior year receipts. TISA funding continues to be lower than last year, but is generally in line with our budget expectations. School Federal Projects Fund revenues are 11.66% lower than the prior year, while expenditures are 13.16% 0.34% lower, largely due to federal funding changes. Expenditures are outpacing revenues, which is typical with this fund, the way that it operates on a reimbursement basis. The Central Cafeteria Fund, revenues show an increase of 31.16% over this prior year, primarily due to the timing of the federal reimbursement receipts. Expenditures have increased slightly at 0.56%, driven by food and supply cost increase. As in previous years, the fund is expected to reflect a temporary deficit at this point in the fiscal year until reimbursement flow stabilizes. Thank you, Mr. Markham.
Echo that, and thank you, Ms. Officer, for our budget report. Board members, any questions or comments regarding our school financial positions? Okay, if not, then we'll go to the next item, and that is budget amendments and transfers. Have 3 items there that have been asked to consider tonight, so I'll let Mr. Drumbarger speak to those.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have an adjustment made in 141 Special Education Preschool Grant, just an adjustment from some materials and supplies over to educational assistance to pay for some salaries and benefits for the employees working in that program. And then we also have in Fund 141, this is an amendment asking to budget some revenue of $300, and this is budgeting funds that are awarded for a stipend to conduct a youth wellness survey. So budgeting those funds that are coming in. And then finally, Fund 142, this is Subfund 801 CTE Perkins Basic Grant. This is to transfer about $44.93 and 30 cents to transfer funds needed for CTSO, but travel for bus drivers and benefits. This is career, and I was trying to think of the acronym, career and technical student organizations, for them to travel to their conferences. And that's all of the budget amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Stromberger. So just in review, 3 budget amendments. None of those of significant dollars in the big picture to typical budget amendments and transfers. But the only one, am I correct, is there only one that is new money, and that's the stipend money for Youth Wellness Survey?
Yes, that's correct. That's the only money coming in. The others are 2 are just transfers.
Okay, so just for everyone's clarity, I mean, these are funds that are just moving from category, but it's not an increase to increase in revenue or unexpected expense from what we previously had budgeted. Any comments and questions on those transfers?
I'm assuming that these have to go through county commission, Mr. Markham?
They all go through budget committee. The $300 goes to the county commission.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, if no other questions, then we'll move down to the next item. It's our personnel report. Included in your packet was application tracking for the month of November, as well as personnel changes for the same month. Any questions or comments regarding our personnel changes? All right, then we'll move to the next one, and that is our threat assessment report. That was included in your package. Please see that of the 4 threats that were investigated, there were no findings of threats, and all those have been closed out. So any questions regarding those? All right, then we'll move forward, and this is some continuation of approval of school clubs. As you will recall, I think it was last month, we went through and cleaned up some of our accounting of school clubs within our district. We have two new requests for new proposed school clubs. One is a White County High School Fantasy Football Club, and the other is a Conspiracy Theories and Unsolved Mysteries Club. And both of those in the high school, those information on those clubs were included. So, and those applications were turned in. No funds required, and no monies generated in either of those clubs.
I do have one question, Mr. Chairman, and this is probably for Mr. Drumbarger, but once all of these clubs are established and approved through this board, they don't have to be approved ever again, correct?
Now, according to policy, they don't have to be reapproved, but we just went through this process because we had some clubs up there that hadn't gone through the normal process. And so these, like these in front of you, are just based on current student interest. So we understand that those clubs will change from time to time, but moving forward, if a new club is established, it'll go through the correct protocols and make sure we have them all on track.
So we're just seeing the large number of clubs because they're going back and getting their accounting processes corrected.
Correct.
Getting everything transparent on the top end so that we know what kind of clubs we have, and anything future will come just like we're seeing now.
That's correct. And those that you see tonight, there were I believe that Coach Craig's original request was for day trading club, and there might have been one other that didn't make, and so these are actually just replacing those two, those day trading clubs that he had. So they will take the place of those, and then I added initially we didn't have the 10 signatures required, so that's why those are separate files. I asked him to get those signatures, and we submitted those as well.
All right. Any other questions on the clubs that we've been asked to consider approving tonight?
I would like to make one comment. We did a little bit of years ago, a decade ago, we were doing a little fantasy basketball, I think, in Northfield, and there's so much math that you can do with that. There's so many stats and things, and I know Coach Craig will take advantage of that as a math teacher himself. He'll be all over that. But there's actually course work. There's a curriculum written to teach a math course on fantasy sports, and so it's actually a really intriguing aspect, and so they will learn a lot. They'll have fun, but they'll actually learn a lot through that process as well.
It's a very unique and cutting edge way to get education into some fun, so that's great. All right, any other questions regarding the clubs? All right, if not, then we have one request for travel, overnight travel, and that's the White County High School Interact Club for a district conference in March. They will be traveling to Pigeon Forge, and that has gone through all the approval processes, with the exception has the director of schools approved this? Okay. All right, so it's not on your signature, but the director confirms that he has approved this travel request, so it meets all the approval requirements. So any questions regarding that travel request?
Mr. Chairman, there's also in the next file, there's softball requests for travel and HOSA, yes. So there are three files, and on the HOSA one, it is the middle request, I believe, that had an overnight stay that needed approval. The other two are during the day. It would not need approval, but just wanted to make that clarification. So there are actually three files on that line item for Interact, softball, and HOSA.
Thank you for pointing that out. I was going down the list and not across. So yeah, so you've got the Interact Club. That does say, though, March 2nd through, travel March 2nd through March 4th in Pigeon Forge. The first one does. Then softball has an overnight trip to Hickson, Tennessee for a softball tournament in March. And then the next one is the HOSA, which is just a one-day trip. Correct me, Mr. McDonald, I'm sorry. Where? Oh, okay. All right, thank you for being my right-hand man and correcting that. All right, great, that's right, for the state convention overnight, so. All right. So any-
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just for clarity, softball actually has two. Just want to be very transparent.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so thank you. See, that's the reason why I have you guys on the board. Appreciate it. All right. All right. Thank you for pointing out. So we have all of our travel requests in. I'll do a better job next time, Mr. Smith and Mr. McDonald, on staying on top of that. All right. Any questions regarding travel requests? All right. So that concludes all the items on our consent agenda. If there's any questions, you have any desire to pull anything out for during our regular meeting, I'll give you the opportunity to do that before we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting. Just one item of new business. We've been asked to consider a fundraiser request, and this is tennis track and wrestling that had discovered that they had a conflict with an approved fundraiser that they were going to do with another event, and so now they've requested to go to crowdfunding as a replacement for their fundraising for this year. So we're going to be asked to consider that in new business. Other than that, we have we're spotlighting Cassville tonight, and so look forward to hearing Miss Hicks and all of our students and parents will be coming from Cassville, so that'll be one of the highlights of tonight's agenda. So, any other questions, comments, board members? Okay, if not, we'll adjourn our work session and begin with our regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Okay, this is our 2-minute warning. We'll start our meeting in 2 minutes. All right, at this time, I'd like to call the December 11th meeting of the White County Board of Education to order. If you would, please rise, and Miss Callie Odell, 11th grade student representative, will lead us in our pledge. Thank you, Ms. Odell, and appreciate everyone being here tonight. We have our staff, central office staff. Appreciate you being here. Members of the community. We have representatives from Cassville who will be spotlighting tonight. So we appreciate your attendance and being part of our meeting tonight. Before we consider approving tonight's agenda, please note the following. That Tennessee Code Annotate and Board Policy 1400 state that every meeting of the board shall be open to the public except where law allows for a closed session. The agenda for the board meetings are posted on the district's website at www.whitecoastschools.net, and the agendas are posted at least 3 days prior to each meeting. Public Acts of 2023 and Chapter 300 and Board Policy 1404 state that each board meeting shall include an agenda item reserved for public comment, as well as the conditions under which those wishing to comment will be recognized. A sign-up sheet is made available prior to the beginning of each regular meeting, and individuals who have signed up to speak during this portion of the meeting will be recognized in the order listed on the sign-up sheet at the point in the agenda designated for public comment. The board meetings are streamed with the help of our central office technology staff for live or recorded viewing. Links are provided on the district's website. Attending and or speaking during tonight's meeting implies consent for comments and appearances to be used. So before we consider tonight's agenda, does anyone on the board have a conflict of interest with any item that's being considered on our agenda tonight?
Mr. Chairman, as I do each and every month, only one item on this agenda is a conflict for me, but my wife is an educator in this system, and all the comments that you hear from me tonight are of my own and the best interest of the students. But I will be recusing myself from the new business item 13A, the fundraiser request. Those fundraisers are being run and administered by my daughter-in-law, who will be compensated for those through her company. So I think it's best for me to not vote on 13A, the fundraiser request, so I will be recusing myself from that one.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, I do not have a conflict of interest on tonight's agenda, but my husband is employed by the district.
Thank you, Ms. Officer.
Mr. Chairman, I too have a spouse that works for the school system, but nothing on the agenda poses a conflict of interest.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. So, Ms. Sims, please let the meeting reflect that Mr. McDonald, Ms. Officer, and Mr. Smith all state that they have spouses working for the district, and that Mr. McDonald will be recusing himself from agenda item 13A as to avoid a potential of conflict. So thank you, board members, for stating that. So at this time, we will consider approval for the agenda for tonight's meeting.
So moved.
Board members, you've had the opportunity to review the agenda for tonight, so do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McDonald. Have a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Fowler. Any questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is our consent agenda. During our work session, board members reviewed our board meeting minutes and our work session meeting minutes from our November 6th meeting. We also recovered our policy report, which there was no policies for us to consider tonight. There was a maintenance report that was submitted by Mr. Alley, of which we reviewed surplus items that are to be sold. There was a budget report was given by Ms. Officer. The district is financially sound and in tracking as expected. There were 3 budget amendments and transfers that were reviewed, of which one consisted of new monies of $300. We reviewed our personnel reports, our threat assessment report, which we're pleased to say that there are no open or credible threat assessments within our district. There were approval of 2 new school clubs, and there were also overnight travel requests that were being made by several high school organizations. Board members, I would like to draw your attention to item 6A, the approval of the board meeting minutes. Our student representatives, Ms. Sackett and Ms. Odell, they failed to mention, I failed to give them the opportunity to speak during our work session, that meetings reflect that they were in attendance in November, but that they were not. So if we just make that correction to the minutes, so would appreciate that, Ms. Sims. But board members, those are items in our consent agenda. If there are any items in the agenda that you wish to have discussion on, we'll remove those to the new business. But if they're give you the opportunity to speak to that if at this time. Request for any item to be removed? Okay, then if there's no objections, the consent agenda will be adopted by unanimous vote as presented. So next item on our agenda is our school spotlight. As you are aware that this year we are recognizing Artists of the Year awards, and tonight we're privileged to have Ms. Shauna Hicks, principal at Cassville, and she will be making the presentation, and so I'd like to recognize Ms. Hicks at this time.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for allowing me and my kiddos and their families to be able to join you all for your meeting this month. You know, I get tickled at myself every year when Mr. Drumbarger sends out what the theme is for what we're going to recognize. It puts so much pressure on me because I feel like it's so important to be able to bring you all the best version of Cassville Elementary and the best kiddos that we have to be able to present to you all. So tonight I have brought 4. It looks like only 3 of them are here though. So actually the first one that I'm going to recognize, she's not here, but if it's okay, I'd like to still recognize her. It is Miss Jocelyn Ross. She is a fifth grader at Cassville who excels in pretty much everything that she does. She's top of the class academically, always willing to lend a helping hand to her teachers and to her peers. At the beginning of the year, Jocelyn was the winner of, we have a bullying contest at our school level, and then the winners from the school represents our school at the district level, and they select a winner from there. So she was the winner of our bullying contest. The special thing about Jocelyn, and the reason I kind of wanted to highlight her with that, is obviously we did that during class time, but Jocelyn really went above and beyond, took her project home, put extra time and effort, and obviously it paid off for her because she ended up being the representative for our school. So just very, very proud of her. So up next is Miss Brooke Moore. So Miss Brooke actually moved to Cassville with us in the middle of the year last year to finish out her elementary career with us. And so she has been such a wonderful addition to our school and to her fifth grade class. But last month, the district held a competition during Red Ribbon Week, in which we did a competition with each grade level with a coloring contest. And so each grade level winner was obviously recognized on behalf of our school, but then they went on to compete against the district. And so Brooke not only won for our school, but she also was the fifth grade representative for the entire district. So when Mr. Drumbarger first said that Artist of the Year was what we were going to try to highlight, you know, it's very natural, I feel like, to automatically go to who can paint or who can draw or who can color well. And we sometimes don't necessarily realize that the artist umbrella can be so large. And so the next couple young men that I'm going to recognize fall under that larger artist umbrella. And so the first one I want to bring to your attention is Mr. Zachariah Marquez. So Raya is a third grade student at Cassville, and you know, naturally, like I said to you earlier, I really take a lot of pride in who I bring before you all. And so I had sent that out to my teacher. Who do you think would be which is my music teacher, actually nominated Raya. And so a few of the things that he said about Raya. So Raya takes guitar lessons outside of school, obviously. And so Mr. Carr said that he is an excellent singer, and for his age, he has incredible sense of pitch and rhythm. That's you, Jason. Okay. And lastly, I want to recognize Mr. Tucker Hurt. So I think one of the most powerful things that I personally am not an artist of any sort of imagination, but if someone is artistically inclined, I think one of the most beautiful things that they have to offer is how they connect with who they present their art to, who looks at their art, who interprets their art, and how they make other people feel with their art, whether they're writing a song that someone can relate to, whether they paint a picture that someone can relate to. And so that's really why I focused on Tucker. I'm not going to tell you that Tucker is the best drawer or painter or any of those things. I don't even know if Tucker can draw a stick man. But what I do know is that Tucker, throughout this semester, has taken it upon himself to create gifts for one of his previous teachers. And he's done it about 3 or 4 times throughout the semester so far. And what he has done is he creates little things for her. He's not in her class anymore, and he takes it in the afternoons and he drops it off to her. And so to Tucker, it's probably a very small act. Like, he probably doesn't think much about the things that he creates for her, but he will probably never truly understand the joy that he brings to that teacher every time that he delivers one of those gifts to her.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks. Audience, we're going to take a recess. We'll give parents and those from district opportunity to take some pictures. So please come up, get the best picture you can. We'll give you the opportunity to do that at this time. All right, thank you, Ms. Hicks, and congratulations, students and parents. We really appreciate you being here tonight. You're more than welcome to stay for the entirety of the meeting, but we understand that schedules get compressed, and if you need to excuse yourself, you're more than welcome to do that. But thank you very much for coming out and allowing us to have your students be recognized. All right, so at this time, I'll call our meeting back to order. The next item on our agenda is our student representative report. So recognize Ms. Sackett and Ms. O'Dell.
Thank you. This month has been very exciting for our students with several accomplishments and upcoming activities to highlight. We'd like to recognize 3 of our senior athletes who have officially signed to continue their athletic and academic careers at the collegiate level. Gracie Clark has signed with the University of the Cumberlands. Bella Winningham will be attending Johnson University, and Kylie Norville will continue her journey at Belmont University. We're incredibly proud of these student athletes for their hard work and dedication both on and off the field and court.
As we head into winter break, students are wrapping up their first semester classes with the EOC end of course and semester exams. Early graduates will soon complete their final requirements and transition out for the semester until they come back in May to receive their diplomas. All student organizations have remained active and engaged, with a few new clubs appearing, such as Club America, a high school version of Turning Point USA, WCHS Fantasy Football Club, and Conspiracy Theories and Unsolved Mysteries. Beta Club recently attended the State Beta Convention in addition to many members volunteering in the nursing homes for dinners, and they can soon be expected to be back at NHC and Life Care for Christmas caroling next week.
The FFA chapter has been especially busy as well. Senior members are putting in the time and effort to complete their state degrees, and students are completing their proficiency applications, which highlight their achievements and commitment to agriculture education and leadership. Meanwhile, our leadership teams and individual speakers are hard at work preparing for their upcoming competitions in January and February.
Our student council is spreading some holiday cheer this season by hosting an Elf on the Shelf hunt throughout the school, giving students a fun and festive way to get involved before winter break.
The elf has gone missing, by the way. It has gone missing. We made it to, I think Wednesday it was, when it got stole. So, and they win a prize, a little Christmas tree Debbie cake. Those have also gone missing. So, and they were near the principal's offices, so I'm not going to say anything else. But we're looking forward to having a break, much needed free time to spend with family and friends over the holidays. And upon return in January, the student body looks forward to changing classes, the winter formal dance, and a new year. That's all.
Thank you, ladies. Board members, any comments for our student representatives?
I was just wondering, Mr. Young, have you been to the high school and took the elf and eat the Christmas tree cakes?
Mr. McDonald, I have an alibi for the elf, but I'm not going to comment on eating the Little Debbies. Thank you, ladies. Really appreciate your thoroughness and recognizing your fellow classmates in your reports. Well done. So that brings us to the next item on our agenda, and that is school board strategic plan. One of the 4 charges that school boards have is to have a strategic plan for the district, and the district is tasked with putting together several plans. Some of those required by statute and for the state, and serves its purpose. We also had, very fortunate to have administrators and Mr. D come together and put together a strategic plan for the district that had to be part of our state strategic plan. And as a board, we approved that. But when the board got together back in July, we felt the need that there needed to be something for the district that had our fingerprints on it. And so what we did in July is we set out to develop a strategic plan for the district to complement the other plans in place that are required by the state. That led us to August, where we held a workshop to review a SWOT from the board's perspective, and we all came together and went through the exercise of a SWOT, coming up with strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats from our perspective. And from that workshop, we agreed to survey the administrators, parents, and students of our district to get their feedback. That was done in the August and September timeframe, and we reconvened in September, and we reviewed the information to identify areas of improvement that, if focused on, would have meaningful impact on the students of our district and the educational process. In October, we distilled the top results into one area of focus to become our strategic plan for the next 36 months. And in November, we got together and discussed the why behind our plan. That led us to last Tuesday night, where we met to finalize our thoughts and bring this plan forward for board consideration. And our strategic plan is as follows. The White County School Board is committed to a tradition of excellence in the educational process we provide to White County. Our vision of what excellence looks like is students know that teachers, administrators, and parents and guardians are invested in their education. In order for that vision to be realized, our mission will be to create a cultural shift that leverages parents, guardians, and educators' engagement in the student's education. Our strategic objectives, based on survey results from September 2025, is to move stakeholder engagement from a perceived weakness to a strength for our district. We will work with our director, administrators, PTO organizations, teachers and support staff, parents, guardians, and students to achieve this objective. That will include coming up with tactical objectives in preparation for our 2026-2027 school year and implement those objectives through the 2027-2028 school year. During this time, we will have reports and survey results to measure the effectiveness and efforts in order to reach this goal. So at this time, board members, I would entertain a motion to approve this strategic plan that I've just presented to you as our plan for a board moving forward.
Mr. Chair, I would make that motion that this board adopt that strategic plan that you just outlined.
Mr. McDonald, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Officer. Board members, it's time for discussion.
I don't know that there's much more that we can say other than just to thank the administrators and the parents and guardians and grandparents who took a role in the survey that we sent out for us to gather this data and to make sure that we're along. You know, we're going to align ourselves and this board and this school district with what the data come back to say, and we want to get more parental involvement and get our students engaged, get our moms and dads and all those engaged in their education. And I think that's an important part of the social aspect of our schools, is to have that engagement to where our students feel like they're wanted and they want to be here, and they're wanted as far as the teachers and the administrators love them. And I think it's evident tonight to see with Ms. Hicks standing here with these young folks that, they're not artists, but they do things and they're reaching those teachers, and those teachers, they don't know what an impact that they've had on those teachers' lives. And those kids probably don't know what an impact that those teachers have had on their lives until they get back to when they get out of school. I can think back to some of my educators I had when I was in elementary school, and they still have a profound impact on my life to this day. So I think it's good work by this board, and I think we've put in our due diligence to develop a strategic plan that will see this school district through at least the next 36 months, and will make us be better at what we do.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to say that I like this strategic plan because it is continuing to gain information. We did those surveys, and we have great appreciation for everyone who took time to fill out that survey, and now we're taking action on that survey. And we're going to follow up with you to see how we're doing. So we want to have that accountability. We like the parent engagement because we're ultimately accountable to you all. So this is going to be a collaborative effort with our district across these next 36 months.
Thank you, Ms. Officer. Anyone else? I'd just like to say, first of all, I appreciate this board being willing to go through this exercise. Did take some extra effort and stretched us a little bit in our thought process, so I really appreciate that. Hope that the community in our district and all stakeholders realize that we do want to be excellent in the process of providing and delivering education to the students, and we think that there's a lot of stakeholders that play a role in that, and we want to foster that culture that makes that happen in the best way we possibly can. For administrators and staff, we hope you know that we're not asking you to do any more than what you already do, but hope that throughout the process that you can help collaborate with us and all stakeholders to where if there's best practices or things that need to be recognized in areas that we can to move and really be perceived as those that are very much invested and committed to the educational process, and the students feel that, and leveraging resources wherever they're available, that you can help us do that, so that we just promote opportunity to facilitate better education for our students, or creating that culture where they realize that people are really invested in that. Because as adults, we realize from the hard work that you do, we see it, but at the end of the day, we want to do our best to try to make sure that that students and families realize that too, and we think that's a collaborative effort. So really appreciate everyone's support for us in this effort, and we look forward to the way that we can come back in meetings in the future to report on good things that are happening in ways that we try to move this needle. Any more discussion? Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to adopt this as our strategic plan for 2026 through 2028. So this time, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, it leads us to our district updates. So we'll allow Mr. Drumbarger to speak, give us an update on the district.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personnel reports are in your folders. We've had a few changes in recent days, but all classes and bus routes continue to be fully staffed with qualified personnel. On the health front, we are monitoring illness levels in the schools. There have been pockets of absenteeism due to illness at various schools, but nothing significant on a district level. We'll continue to monitor and adjust as needed. Financially, you heard earlier that in the financial report, the district is in sound financial position. However, this week, the district was awarded $372,000 in outcomes funding from the state. This money comes from a formula based on how students performed on last year's state testing. So I'm excited to get that news. Athletically, high school basketball season is underway and spring sports are in the conditioning phase of their seasons. Building projects, exterior brickwork has been completed at Doyle. The crews will punch through the existing building into the existing building during the Christmas break. And as you heard earlier, our maintenance team is doing a great job of completing work orders and securing our buildings. Academically, White County Schools is proud of its recent showing on the state report card. Our 8 schools received 4 A's, 3 B's, and 1 C. As you know, we're also a level 5 out of 5 on TVOS growth. And 6 of our 8 schools, or 75% of our schools, are considered to be reward schools. So these are excellent scores and evidence of the great work that's happening in our school buildings. Christmas break, White County Schools will close at 9:30 next Wednesday morning, December 17th, for Christmas break, and schools will reopen on Monday, January 5th. Now, as a note on behavior, you may recall that White County Schools was recently received the Groundbreakers Award at the state level for its work with behavioral interventions. Much of the credit is due to the leadership of our behavioral specialist, Mr. Richard Bumbleau, and our RTI supervisor, Ms. Farrah Griffith. And at this time, I'd like to give the floor to Ms. Griffith, who's going to provide us with an RTI 2B update.
So the real star of the show, Richard Bumbleau, is not here this evening. He actually works at one of our after-school programs, helping some kids with behavior in the afternoons, and that goes until 5:30. So that's where he is this afternoon. We were glad to be able to be awarded at the SPED conference last month the Groundbreakers Award, and you know we always want to reach higher and further. So we are now charting a new path toward the next award, which no one statewide has earned. So we'd like to be the first, and presenting to our fine board and community is a part of that next step. When I came on board 4 years ago, actually Richard and I went to high school together, so we go way back. Richard came to me, and he and I had worked together at the middle school, some with behavior, and he said, I really have this scatterbrained idea that I'd like for us to work on putting behavior and academic interventions together. And you guys probably have heard through conversations with schools and principals and parents that behavior is kind of becoming something that we struggle with from time to time because of lack of consequences. And White County, for the past 14 years, has done a really good job with academic intervention. And to just give you a quick overview of that, once a month, the intervention team meets together and looks at the academic successes and needs of students, and we place those folks in intervention as needed, whether that be special ed intervention or just a tiered intervention, or even just in the classroom, small groups during our GAPS time, so that we can get those skill deficits taken care of. And it had kind of become my experience that some of those conversations in those meetings about unsuccessful students hinged more from behavior than academics. And sometimes we were pulling some of those kids and putting them in a smaller academic setting to try to curb behavior. So it made sense when Richard comes and says, let's start this process. I could immediately see that we had a need for that. So we started this journey with the 1010 network, because you know education loves acronyms. But the Tennessee Tiered Support Center has several locations statewide. Here locally we work with Vanderbilt. So a team from Vanderbilt took us on as a project, and they have supported us. They provide PD for schools and districts that are wanting to better their process for intervention. So the first step was creating teams. So we decided that we would start with our elementary schools and the middle school. The middle school already had a plan in place, and we had learned a lot and had some growing pains, but we're feeling pretty good about where we were there. So they kind of became the flagship to start programs at all the elementary schools. But we tried to be very strategic in picking the right people to do the work. So we wanted an administrator from every school on our team. We wanted regular classroom teachers on our teams. Of course, the interventionists, because they're so instrumental in the intervention process already. And then school counselors, because when we're talking behavior, they're an instrumental part of that for us. So we formed teams from each school, and trying to be as least invasive to classroom time as we could. We tried to strategically pick folks that we could be less impactful in picking when and where to have our meetings so that we weren't bothering the academic process as we went. One of the first steps with the 1010 network was self-assessment. And I know I am pretty competitive, but I realize I work with a lot of really competitive people. And when we sat down and we had to score ourselves on a range of things that took about an hour and a half to do, it pained us to give ourselves low scores. You know, you think you're good until you really get down and start looking at things. But it did tell us that we had areas to grow. So we did a district assessment that Mr. Drombarger, Dr. Thompson at the time, Richard, and some other key folks sat down and did a district assessment. And then Richard and I went school to school, and we did assessments at each school. And it was very soul-searching, and every school was very competitive too. So giving yourself a 1 is difficult. But we gave ourselves those needed ones. That gave us areas that we could grow, and we're going to look for just a second at how that's going thus far. So we found out through those initial things that we needed some professional development for teachers on behavior. We needed to better manage data for behavior. You know, we're really good at looking at academic data, but we would walk in and say, oh, you know, little Johnny, he's just terrible. He just misbehaves all the time. That's not concrete data. So we worked on getting a system to manage that, and then having a universal behavior screener. So that would give us that behavioral data to lay alongside our academic data. So our first step in the process was we had Tier 1 behavior PD for all of those folks on the team, and the Vanderbilt ladies came and provided us with a really long, grueling, but very informative day of professional development. And we left from that day saying, we need time to work. So when they came back to work with us for our second day, they heard our concerns, and Richard and I wanted all the schools to leave with work products. Rather than sitting all day and then having to go back and do extra work that there's not time for or extra funds and fame for. So we then shifted into creating those things while we were here in our session 2, which I was very thankful that our Vanderbilt friends heard our concerns and kind of changed the program to help us out. So establishing expectations for every school, and those look different. You know, Ms. Hicks's school at Cassville is much smaller than Woodland Park. So those things have to be very specific for each school. So we developed those expectations for different places. You know, the way I act in the cafeteria is quite different than the way I'm probably going to have to act in an assembly or in the gym. So creating all of those things and lesson plans so that teachers had things in their hands to be able to teach those school-wide expectations so kids knew what was expected of them. Did I die? Nope. So every school, and this is just a sample, this is the middle schools, and every school has an acronym for behavior or what their social expectations are, and we have those classroom expectations and hallway and gym and cafeteria, how to respect technology, the library, assemblies, so that we kind of knew what that needed to look like. It was very interesting sitting down with teachers, the conversations about what constitutes an office referral. What do I handle in my classroom? How do I know which is what? Everybody's threshold is a little different, but it was kind of interesting to see. We were kind of all over the map as a district on what our classroom expectations needed to look like. So creating all of these things through our time together led us into our schools, and all of our schools, as I mentioned a minute ago, have their expectations. This is Northfield, they're the Huskies, theirs is Paws, the Falcons Rise. So having those behavioral expectations posted throughout the building so that it's always present in front of students, getting students involved in the process. The middle school, this is one of Richard's favorites. Every fall they do a poster contest by homeroom. And this gets the kids understanding what it means for all of the tenets of Armour, being respectful and motivated and organized and responsible. So a fun opportunity for kids to get involved and work together and make sure that they know those expectations. And then, of course, the middle school, if you saw the expositor back in the fall, the new armor mural on the wall, keeping those things ever present in front of our students. So just quickly to show you, we started at the end of the year in 23, and you can see where we scored ourselves versus where we were in spring of 25. So we've made a lot of growth in the areas of leadership, decision-making, instruction and intervention, and assessment. And then here's our district growth. So that's overall how we feel about where we are. I was kind of proud of us this past November session. We would love to give ourselves 5, but we said, you know, those are still areas that we need to grow in and work on. And then there's our award that we got to accept in October. And then our next one, as I mentioned earlier, is the Community Builders Award, and no one has gotten that in the state. So where we are at this point, every month when we sit down and we talk about those academic expectations of students, we have time carved out during that session to discuss behavior. We use a program called SWIS, where office referrals and classroom referrals go in. So we can pull up little Johnny and we can see that he's been in trouble 12 times in the classroom and he has 3 office referrals. And then we can go into kind of the same process that we do for academics. This student needs a Tier 2 intervention. What does that need to look like? Is that check in, check out? So we can work through a system and maybe strategize better behaviors for those students. And those meetings are very, very eventful and packed because those happen every 40 minutes for the entire school day at each school. And we have every teacher from each grade level. We have the school psychologist, the principal, the counselor if they're not teaching kids at that time, speech and special ed, and myself at the table. So we sit and now we not only talk about academic needs of students at each school once a month, we talk about those behavioral needs as well. So we're excited to hopefully continue our work and be the first to get the Community Builders Award.
Thank you, Ms. Griffith. And thank you, Mr. Stromberger, for the school report. Board members, any comments on our district update or our report from Ms. Griffith? Yeah, would like to commend you and Mr. Bumbleow for coming together and putting that together, and good luck on getting that next level of recognition. All right, if not, then we'll go down to our next item on the agenda, and that is sped bus risk mitigation ideas to consider. Reached out by Miss Karen Stafford, asked to present to the board this evening. There was a situation that she experienced, or her grandson experienced, and she went through that, but she wants to come back and just share some ideas with the board on things to consider that may help mitigate risk of situation happening again. So, Ms. Stafford, if you would come to the podium, we have a microphone for you, and we will be glad to hear your presentation.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you all for letting me come up here. And I'm not real good at this, so I'm going to be real nervous. And I'm very upset about it still. My name is Karen Stafford, and I'm the parent. I'm sorry. Of a nonverbal autistic kindergartner. And I'm here to speak about something that should never happen to any child, especially the vulnerable ones who can't speak for themselves. Recently, my child was forgotten on the bus and not discovered until the bus reached the bus yard after the morning rounds. On the surveillance footage, the driver was saying, these were not her words, but these are the ones I'm going to use. Dang it, we forgot again. Well, those words are alarming. But what is more alarming is that I was never notified. Not by the transportation department, not by the school, not by any official. The only acknowledgement I received was a brief comment from my child's teacher later that morning. As a parent, this was the first time I realized anything had happened. Let me be clear, my child is nonverbal, autistic, and legally vulnerable. He is unable to speak. He is unable to ask for help, unable to call out, and unable to tell me what happened. What if something had gone wrong? Thank God it didn't. But he was driven down 111 in the morning. What if the bus had been in a wreck? What if my child wandered off? What if he was harmed, assaulted, or kidnapped? And what if they simply panicked and no one was there to help? If the school believed my child was in class and I believed my child was in school, then no one would have known where my child actually was. And this is unacceptable. The original bus driver has since been removed from her position. She still drives a bus, just not Xander's bus. However, my child now has a new driver who is noticeably harsh and abrupt. So much so that now my child refuses to get on the bus. When a child who once rode the bus without issue suddenly begins refusing, we must ask why. I need to say this clearly. There is no adequate protocols in place that were taken that day. There should be a physical check or a clipboard, verification that each student gets on the bus, verification when each student gets off. Immediate parent notification if a child remains on the bus for any amount of time. A written incident report automatically sent to the administration and the parents. Required accountability procedures for special needs students. If a hospital can track every patient, a school system can track a handful of children getting on and off a bus. The district transports children with disabilities, some nonverbal, some medically fragile, some unable to advocate for themselves. These are the exact children who require the highest level of protection. I'm not here to criticize anybody. I'm here to demand policy change. Because children like mine don't have a voice. And I will be that voice. I've been told I've been overreacting. But there's no such thing as overreacting when your child is left alone on a bus and no one even tells you. So I'm asking this board to create mandated transportation protocols, establish immediate parent contact requirements, implement documentation procedures for special needs riders, and provide additional training for drivers transporting disabled students. There has been the training. The bus attendant was let go. The driver was moved. Everything I asked for has been done, and done quickly. But if it happened to my child, it will happen again, unfortunately, because people are people. Our family and others like us deserve assurance that our children are safe the moment they step onto that bus till the moment they return home. Thank you for your time, and I hope the board, I can't even finish reading this, agrees that the safety of all children must be non-negotiable. And all I'm asking for is just a piece of paper, a clipboard with their names on it. A tablet. Every kid in school's got a tablet. Let the bus driver have one for the special needs kids. These kids can't help it. They have to be watched. They have to be taken care of. They're just vulnerable. They can't fend for themselves. That's why we're here. And I just can't, my kids have ridden the bus for 40 years. I mean, these are my grandkids. But they've ridden the bus a long time, and I've never had an issue ever, but I've never had these kind of kids before. And it's very, as you can see, I'm very adamant about this because this is very important to me. Because it should never have happened. And then when it happened, I should have been notified. And I wasn't. And that's what bothers me the most, is because nobody called me. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Xander's at school, and he wasn't. He got in somebody's personal car, which, as you all know, that's against every rule there is. Because I'm a nurse, I can't transfer my patients. I have to know where my patients are at all times. You can't let this can't just be swept under the rug. There's got to be something done. Just one thing, just one, to make me feel better about White County Schools. I love White County Schools. All my kids have went to White County Schools, and I love the school, but I can't let this go and not say anything. I just can't. Thank you. Thank you all for letting me come here and blubber like an idiot.
You're fine, Ms. Stafford. Appreciate that very much. We, on behalf of the board, we do deeply regret a situation that happened to your grandson. Grandson that your son, yes, is very, very unfortunate, and do appreciate the pain and anxiousness that created for you and your family, and appreciate the fact that in our conversations that you just wanted to encourage us to revisit policies and procedures to see what ways we could mitigate risk for that happening again. As director could speak, and our transportation supervisor could also speak to regarding all the safeguards to prevent a driver from leaving the bus without doing a physical walk to check to see if a student was left behind. Those were all in place, and this was human error on the standpoint of not checking at the school, and we certainly would own that. The thing that was very much out of our control, and appreciate the action he took on from a disciplinary standpoint, but when personnel made very bad decision on how they tried to rectify the situation, and that was concerning. I appreciate the fact that the board or director took the steps that he did, because you're correct. Policy is that if in the event that a student was left on the bus, it would be the bus driver would take that student back, not in the bus, not in a personal vehicle, and it's very unfortunate. We're very sorry that situation took place. I can, from a chairman's standpoint, speak to the director and go back and look at what's in place now, and look and see if there's any areas for improvement, and how that could take place. We do feel like we have a very stringent and thorough policy in place, but we're going to go back and revisit it, because I think the situation merits that, and so we want to, I think you're due that from that, and I'll be asking the director to work with the supervisor, just go back and revisit those policies. That's my thought, but I'm going to pause here and give other board members a chance to speak if they'd like.
Chairman, I think you verbalized it very well, but yes, we're all very sorry that this happened, and again, applaud the director for taking the action that he did, and I understand that.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Any other board members have comment? Okay. So, Ms. Stafford, I appreciate your courage to come and speak to us tonight, and you did well. And just know that as board, we hear your concern, and we will, like I said, we'll work with the director and with him to see if go back and just revisit what's in place and see if there's anything else that can be done, and hopefully we can have something on a small scale that makes a big impact. Yes. Yeah, thank you. We'll do that, and I would expect that you'll get a follow-up from Ms. Drumbarger after they've had time to kind of review the what's in place. Okay, so all right, thank you very very much. Okay, so we'll move on in our agenda. The next item is public comment. There was no sign up for anybody wishing to speak, comment on items on the agenda tonight. So that moves us down to the next item, and this is a new business item. Board members, we were asked to, on a fundraising request, that there was conflict regarding a fundraising request by the tennis, track, and wrestling teams that to do an event, that there was conflict with another organization that had fundraising approval. And so what they've done is they've asked to replace their proposed fundraiser, and I think it was a meal and auction fundraiser, and they've asked that to be replaced, substituted with a crowdfunding app replacement for their fundraiser. We have approved crowdfunding for our teams to raise funds in the past, so this is not going to be a new fundraiser, but it will be a change in the approved fundraiser for the tennis, track, and wrestling team. So that's what has been asked of us tonight. So at this time, I would entertain a motion for approval for the change in fundraiser for track, tennis, and wrestling.
I make a motion.
All right, I have a motion by Ms. Douglas. To have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, we have one item on our old business. And board members, as you're aware, in the past we have discussed about our volunteer fire departments having their facilities located on school property, and so that has started the exercise of us going back and trying to do some investigating on ownership of property, how property is deeded, and we've included some preliminary information was provided to you in your packets before tonight's meeting regarding Tennessee Property Viewer and how it's showing things listed. But we also asked Mr. Markham to do some work on helping us just go in with the Register of Deeds office to go and just confirm how property that we expect to be considered part of the district, and exactly how that property is deeded. And Mr. Markham has been working on that diligently, but he's that has not been finished. However, we have organizations, specifically our Bondycroft Fire Department, that is looking to proceed with some grant funding, try to secure some grant funding for their needs. And doing some research, we've asked them to go and confirm that they are entity recognized both at the federal and the state level as a business entity, legitimate business entity, and they have done that. And so that was one hurdle that was passed. The other is how can we help facilitate them and not be a hindrance in their ability to go and secure funding, grant fundings, and apply for that. Doing some research with the county executive and his office, that there are grants available that they can assist with. But given the fact that they don't per se have anything in place officially for recognizing the condition of which the property that they want to enhance, that's the reason why we were approached about selling property. But we're not at the point where we could act on that if, as a board, we wanted to choose to do that. So we'll have the discussion on how we might want to proceed. I would recommend board for some discussion that we consider having a lease agreement with all the volunteer fire departments that whose facilities are on our property, so that way we'd not be a hindrance of them if we're proceeding with whatever type of grants and fundings that they're wishing to pursue. So I'll pause right now, and board members give you a chance to comment on that.
Mr. Chairman, in looking at the file in our packet, can you identify which of the schools or properties that are deeded to the Board of Education have a volunteer fire department as part of that property? Is that something?
Mr. Smith, that's a great question, but it's going to take just a second to go
Sure.
and look that up. And Mr. D, if you get there
Well,
before
I don't know the
that's fine.
slide numbers, but it's the properties are Cassville, Central View, and Bondycroft.
All right, thank you.
That are deeded to the White County Board of Education.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So, board members, I'm going to make in the form of a motion that we proceed with drafting a lease that we enter in with all volunteer fire departments that have facilities on our property. Going to make a motion that we proceed with having a 5-year lease drawn up by our director with coordination with our fiscal administrator, Mr. Markham, and so that way we would have a document in place that we could enter in with these volunteer organizations, volunteer fire departments, and giving them a legal document stating the ownership of the property, and also their right to have their facility on those grounds. So I'd make my motion for clarity. My motion is that we enter into a 5-year lease, have a 5-year lease drawn up to engage with all the volunteer fire departments that have property, have their facilities on our property. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion?
One item that I was going to ask there before you got into your motion, the property, and Mr. Markham, I know you've been working on this, the Quebec Community Center property, and I know there's a long history there. Would that be part of your motion as well, Mr. Chairman, that property be, I mean, since it's legally and on the property data says that it belongs to the White County Board of Education, would that be part of your lease agreement as well, or is that something that we need to rely on?
You're talking about the Quebec Community Center?
The Quebec
So
Community Center.
that's one, Mr. McDonald, that is part, as I said, Mr. Markham's doing deed research on all these properties. That's one that there's not clarity on, so no, that is not part of my
Okay.
motion.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, all those
Oh,
signal.
wait a minute, sorry. What kind of monetary value are you looking at on the 5-year lease? Is it a $1 lease, or is it a 50-cent lease, or is it just a lease agreement between those fire departments and this board?
Okay, my thoughts behind that there's no monetary exchange,
All right.
but I'm not sure that would fall to from a lease standpoint. I'm not sure if there has to be a monetary amount, but if it was, I would recommend that it not be more than $1 for the 5 years. That would be 20 cents.
agree.
That would be 20 cents a year,
I would agree.
and we can take donations for that.
I'll pay it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I have a motion and a second, and we're in discussion. Are there any other discussions, board members, on how we're planning to proceed with our volunteer fire department partners?
How fast do you think we'll have this back, or we vote on this in January to approve the agreement, or?
Can we have that done? Yeah, we're going to charge that our director that we get that done so we can vote on this in January. Vote on the specific lease. Right now, we're going to proceed. We're going to vote on how we're going to proceed, and then in January we come back and have the actual agreements.
Sounds great.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, that brings us to chairman's comments. I'd like to remind you that our next school board meeting is January 8th. 2026 here at the Board of Education will be spotlighting Doyle Elementary. Board members like to, and the board meeting will be at 6 o'clock, and we'll have our work session at 5. Board members like to remind you that this your statement of disclosures of interest that you have to file annually with the state. Those are due by December 31st. Mr. Stromberger was kind enough to provide us all with a link to that, to where we go and make those disclosures. So I'd like to encourage you to make sure you get that done by the 31st. And also, this is a special announcement. We'd like to recognize that today is Miss Sims' birthday. And so after we adjourn, we're going to sing happy birthday to Miss Sims, and Mr. McDonald's going to lead that. We should have had our artists stay for that, but Miss Sims will have to say happy birthday to you. So this time I'd entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion by Mr. McDonald. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Fowler. Any discussion? All in favor say by saying aye.